But Mr. Igini,
by air,
you have
by
been
road.
You have not. You have been in. Hold on, Mr. Igini. You've been in because this explanation and the technicalities of as you're breaking it down for Nigerians, the INEC chairman may not have the opportunity to do so at that meeting yesterday. But that's the benefit that we're having tonight on this program for you to break it down for Nigerians. So a lot of people will say in 2011 there was a shift. In fact, on the morning of the election, INEC chairman at the time, Professor Jega, had to announce that there will be a shift around noon on that day. In 2015, there was a shift due to security reasons for 6 weeks. So it does look like a recurring destiny for Nigeria that if we don't shift election, we are never ready for elections. So the question is that if you have logistics problem, just like you have a flight, and you know you are not going to meet up with the flight, local flight, you have to check in 1 hour. International flight, 22 hours before you go. So by the time you're getting late to the airport, you know you can never meet up. So how only that INEC discovered that it cannot meet up only in the morning, few hours, about 5 or 6 hours before the opening of ballots?
History is the graveyard for contending opinion. The situation in 2007, for instance, and that of 2011 are different, and what we are contending with right now. In the case of 2007, recall, ballot papers, election was for April 14th. So ballot papers were still in South Africa. Election went on. And you remember that it was on the 21st that ballot papers were brought. In 2011, again, which is now a bit similar to what we're having now, also arising from primary process because of the concern about the issue of unlawful exclusion. You will have to see, you can look at the window we created, and that was why we deliberately, for the first time, just as we also did in 2015, issued out the timetable on the 1st of January 2018. And we gave the entire August for the parties to conclude the primaries. They all waited to the last day. Now, I just told you, 40 court orders, a total of 554 requests for certified true copy. So this is the highest ever in our country.
So you are saying politicians are your major problem?
It's a major problem. The kind of party primaries that they have conducted that are clearly a deviation from requirement of internal party democracy. You can see the crisis, and it's still ongoing. But we have to put an end to it. Look, gentlemen, we have to go and produce this ballot paper. And now, just like in 2011, as at this, in respect to this particular one, we already now have the ballot paper in the country. They're already in the country, or like in 2007, for instance. Now, what was left was how to move this heavy, ballot across the country. For instance, I give you an example. In Akwa Ibom, for instance, what has even happened was that we now deploy what we call total national asset. The Nigerian Air Force, they have to come into rescue. Now, when material were delivered at the various zonal stores, where we have to truck from across the zone, within the zone, on that day, for instance, on Thursday, for instance, and Wednesday, when the CBN, I was practically in the CBN, following what was going on. And same my colleagues across the country. When the vehicle went to CBN, to Port Harcourt, there was, weather problem. By the time the vehicle got to Port Harcourt, the weather was good for the Air Force to take the materials. Material were now brought to Uyo. I was now called that the material were already in Uyo. Now, the kind of van that the CBN will use for that is already on its way to Port Harcourt. But I already got to Port Harcourt. It had to come back again. Look at the time. Now, the issue here is that when primaries that ought to have been long time ago have not been concluded, it has implication. Because there are certain things, even though you have all the monies, you don't go to the chef to pick them and get them for the purpose of the election. So, but overall, our appeal to Nigerians is that despite this painful setback, shift in the timetable, it will be for the overall interest of Nigeria. Because a lot of things that we have developed, processes, procedure that are replicable, that we tend to want to deploy in this election, some of which I will demonstrate to you right away, to bring integrity to the ballot system in Nigeria as the best means of expressing the will of the people as to who govern will compensate for this short.
So it does look like the eventualities, INEC was not ready for the eventualities because it looks like a shock to the commission.
No, not at all. See, we have what we call, our programs, our plans are rational plans. We also have what we call emergent plan. How do you respond to certain emergent situation? Here, what we're talking about is not a case of we don't even have, the ballot paper now. We now have the ballot paper in the country.
Transportation became a major problem.
It became a problem because of the fact that the time within which, look at what I just told you, 600 and over cases in court, 40 court orders.
Because, I mean,
asking you to either add in fact, at some point, you will see a court of coordinate jurisdiction saying maintain status quo. Sometimes you don't even know the status quo to maintain. In the morning, there will be court asking you to maintain status quo. In the afternoon, there will be another court order. So, what kind of
political parties gave you a headache?
Political parties.
But let's look at the fact that let's move forward.
What we're interested in here now, and I appeal to Nigerians, is on Saturday, what should Nigerians expect? What are the things that truly were put in place? And there are new things we have put in place.
All right. And that's why we'll talk about that. A big question.
So we appeal to Nigerians. We are sorry for what has happened.
Okay.
Let us come together in this kind of emergency as a people, as a nation. The kind of spirit we display during football when Nigerians
are you telling Nigerians that those materials that you have already distributed, none of it had been exposed?
For example, in Akwa Ibom, the material we are at the CBN. But the material has been arranged local government by local government before the news came. All we did was to take them back.
In some states, the materials have gone to local government areas.
In other states where materials have gone to local government, or even to the racks, the reverse logistic process has been there. And in any case, before takeoff on Saturday, party agents will have to audit jointly with the commission all those materials. So we have no problem about that.
What if the ballots have been tampered with?
No,
in areas tampered with? I mean, if the ballot had been exposed, because over the last few years, about 6 or 7 years, INEC has employed the color coding system, where local governments from one local government to the other, there are different color codes to be able to secure the ballot. What if some of these have been exposed to politicians or voters?
Let me tell you. Beyond the color coding, there are other security features that we have in the ballot papers. That politician, it will take you massive effort to do that. There's no politician really that within these few days can do that. But in any case, we have what we call validation stages. We have developed all kinds of platforms. In fact, part of the problem the politicians are having, why they are so desperate, is because of the fact that they are beginning to find it difficult